Hello and welcome to Standard Voice Television Global News. Today, 25th May 2026. Equivalent Islamic calendar 8 Zulhijjah 1447 after the Hijrah of the Noble Prophet. In the headlines, President Tinubu receives APC flag certificate of return as 2027 presidential candidate. Center for Disease Control declares Ebola outbreak high risk and activates emergency response nationwide. Troops of Operation Heartland Kai detonate explosives and rescue 92 kidnapped victims in Northeast. And on the international scene, President Trump cautions U.S. negotiations against Rush deal with Iran. And on sport update, CAF confirms 10 African countries qualify for 2026 Under-17 World Cup. Because of these and more will be coming to you in the news bulletin. I am Sumaya Mustafa. Stand by. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has received the All Progressives Congress APC Certificate of Return and party flag as the party's presidential flag bearer for the 2027/2031 election cycle. The presentation took place at the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu International Conference Center in Abuja on Sunday, where APC National Chairman Nentawe Iltuada handed over the certificate to the President amid applause from party leaders and supporters. The APC National Chairman, while presenting the certificate, said it represented the mandate of party members across the country, noting that the nomination reflected broad internal support within the APC. Tinubu, while addressing party leaders and supporters, said he shares in the collective anguish of the nation in the past 3 years of sweeping fiscal and economic reforms. Tinubu's formal presentation followed his emergence as the APC presidential candidate after polling 10.99 million votes. Moving on, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has cautioned delegates of the African Democratic Congress ADC to prioritize competence and national reach over sentiments and social media popularity as it prepares to elect a presidential candidate ahead of the 2027 polls. His senior special assistant on public communication, Frank Shuaibu, in a statement said Atiku dismissed social media enthusiasm as an insufficient test for the presidency. The former vice president also insisted that the party must field its strongest candidate to beat Tinubu, arguing that with Nigeria merged in economic hardship, mounting debts, insecurity, and institutional decay, the ADC cannot afford the luxury of fielding an untested candidate. He took a pointed swipe at the wave of enthusiasm surrounding certain contenders, stressing that presidential contests are decided by structures, strategy, and governance capacity and not digital noise. Former Commissioner for Information in Zamfara State, Ibrahim Dosara, has written to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu regarding the petition currently being circulated against the Minister of State for Defense, Bello Muhammad Matawalli, concerning the APC State Assembly primary election conducted in Maradun local government area of Zamfara State. Dosara, a former special advisor on public enlightenment, media and communications to former Governor Abdulaziz Yari, in a letter he personally signed, explained that the allegations contained in the said petition are politically motivated, exaggerated and carefully designed to tarnish the hard-earned reputation of the defense minister. The veteran journalist, owner of Standard Voice Television, and also the Kakakin Maradun, noted that Matawalle understands the constitutional responsibilities, ethical boundaries, and professional standards guiding the operations of the armed forces and other security institutions in a democratic society. He stressed that the minister has remained one of the strongest pillars of support for Renewed Hope agenda, particularly in the ongoing fight against insecurity and banditry in the Northwest region. Moving on, Vice President Kashim Shettima has reiterated Nigeria's commitment to strengthening bilateral ties with the Republic of Benin, describing both countries as nations bound by a shared history, culture, trade and regional security interests. The Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Communications, Office of the Vice President, Stanley Nwocha, in a statement said Shettima stated this in Cotonou, where he represented President Bola Ahmed Tinubu at the inauguration of President Romuald Wadagni. The Vice President emphasized that Nigeria's participation reflected what he described as Tinubu's unwavering, deep-seated commitment to strengthening ties with our neighbors. He noted that Nigeria and Benin Republic share long-standing historical and cultural bonds, stressing that both countries remain closely connected through communities that span their shared border. Still in the news, the Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention (NCDC) has placed the nation on heightened Ebola alert, warning that Nigeria faces a high risk of Ebola virus disease (EVD) importation amid the worsening outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo and Uganda. Director General of the Center, Jide Idris, made this known in an emergency preparedness update, disclosing that although Nigeria has not recorded any confirmed Ebola case linked to the ongoing regional outbreak, he added that the agency has activated nationwide surveillance and response mechanisms to prevent a possible outbreak. Idris also noted that its latest dynamic risk assessment identified international travel, population movement, porous borders, and delayed symptom recognition as major factors increasing Nigeria's vulnerability. The news is coming to you on Standard Voice Television Global News. Still to come in the news. Troops of Operation Hatlankai detonate explosives and rescue 92 kidnapped victims in Northeast. On the international scene, President Trump cautions U.S. negotiations against rush deal with Iran. And on sport updates, CAF confirms 10 African countries qualify for 2026 Under-17 World Cup. Details of this and more will be coming to you after this break. Stay tuned. Welcome back from that short break, and now the news continues. Troops of the Joint Task Force Northeast Operation Hatlankai have rescued 92 victims kidnapped by Boko Haram and Islamic State West Africa Province terrorists along the Burate to Kamia Road in Biu local government area of Borno State. The Media Information Officer, Headquarters Joint Task Force Northeast Operation Hatlankai, Lieutenant Colonel Sani Uba, in a statement disclosed that the rescue operation carried out on Saturday also led to the recovery of vehicles and the detonation of improvised explosive devices, IEDs. He added that troops of the 135 Special Forces Battalion deployed at Duze Kura detected the insurgents while they were forcing civilians and vehicles off the road into nearby bush parts. Following the discovery, the battalion deployed its quick reaction force, while enforcement troops from the 27th Task Force Brigade Garrison were mobilized to support the operation. Moving on, the Katsina State Police Command has busted a 7-man kidnapping syndicate responsible for the abduction of an 8-year-old boy and recovered 7.5 million naira suspected to be part of ransom paid by the victim's family. Spokesperson for the command, DSP Abubakar Sadiq, who disclosed this in a statement, said 6 members of the gang were arrested by operatives of the Violent Crime Response Unit, while one identified as Abdul is still at large. He listed those arrested as Nura Aliyu, the mastermind and a neighbor to the victim's family, Abubakar Aminu, Ibrahim Muhammad, Ilyas Sani, Abubakar Muhammad, and Abdullahi Ismail. Sadiq confirmed that the suspects have confessed to the commission of the offense and mentioned one Abdul, currently at large, as their accomplice. Nigerian pilgrims have completed the Medina leg of their spiritual journey and have been transported to the holy city of Mecca few hours before the commencement of this year's Hajj exercise. The pilgrims' departure from Medina, where they spent several days worshipping in the Prophet's mosque and historical sites that are part of the evolution of the Islamic religion, marked the end of their first phase of the 2026 Hajj operations. The final group of pilgrims from ZAMFARA, Kano, Borno, and a few other states has departed from Medina for Mecca. They are preparing to move to the Mashair, the holy sites of Mina, Arafat, and Muzdalifah, where the 5-day Hajj will take place. This year's spiritual exercise, which is obligatory for Muslims who are financially and physically able, commences today, Monday, May 25, and ends on Friday, May 29. And on the international scene, President Donald Trump directs U.S. negotiators not to rush into pact with Iran amid anticipation and mounting criticism of an agreement to end the war in the Middle East. He stressed that the blockade will remain in full force and effect until an agreement is reached, certified, and signed. The United States has imposed a blockade of Iranian ports since April 13 after Tehran virtually halted traffic through the economically vital Strait of Hormuz in response to the U.S.-Israel attacks on Iran that began February 28. Trump wrote in the Truth Social post that both parties must take their time and get it right while slamming the 2015 nuclear deal that the former President Barack Obama agreed with Iran. According to the news outlet in Axios, a possible agreement would extend the current ceasefire by 60 days, during which the Strait of Hormuz would be reopened, Iran would freely sell oil, and negotiations will be held on Iran's nuclear program. Lastly, on sport news, the Confederation of African Football, CAF, has confirmed 10 countries representing Africa at the FIFA Under-17 World Cup, Qatar 2026. Uganda secured the 10th and final ticket after beating Ghana 8-7 on penalties in the CAF Under-17 Africa Cup of Nations. Morocco 2026 playoff on Saturday. The match ended 2-2 after normal time, with Uganda holding their nerve in the shootout. CAF confirmed that the win saw Uganda join Mozambique as the two teams that progressed via the playoff route, as they join a list dominated by North and West Africa. Africa's qualified teams for the FIFA Under-17 World Cup include Morocco, Cameroon, Senegal, Mali, Cote d'Ivoire, Egypt, Tanzania, Algeria, Mozambique, and Uganda. Meanwhile, Nigeria's Golden Eaglets did not qualify for the CAF Under-17 AFCON, which serves as a qualification for the FIFA Under-17 World Cup fixed for November 19 to December 13, 2026. Finally on the news, here is a recap of the top stories again. President TINUBU receives APC flag, certificate of return as 2027 presidential candidate. Center for Disease Control declares Ebola outbreak high risk and activates emergency response nationwide. Joseph Operation Hatlenkai detonates explosives and rescue 92 kidnapped victims in Northeast. And on the international scene, President Trump cautions U.S. negotiations against Rush deal with Iran. And on sport update, CAF confirms 10 African countries qualify for 2026 Under-17 World Cup. And that's the size of the news on SVTV. On behalf of the news editor Ilya Adamu Auta and the production crew, I am Sumaya Mustafa, thanking you and bye for now.